Hello everyone, your favorite fabulous fairy here, and today I'm going to talk to you about ghost stories. Not just any ghost stories, today we're going to talk about ghost stories involving animals. So, for those of the faint of heart that don't like hearing animal things, yes, animals sometimes die, but sometimes they come back as ghosts. The first story is more of a small happening. My grandma Dixon has a backyard that could definitely give competition to Pet Cemetery. Every animal that we have ever had that we have lost has been buried at my grandma Dixon's, including some other people's animals as well, not to mention all of hers and all of her cats. Now, my grandmother did not go out of her way to collect animals. However, animals went out of their way to collect my grandmother. She would come home on multiple occasions and find that there is a new cat on the porch, and then she would feed it and love it and take care of it like you would if you found a stray animal. So with all those different animals, it's easy to think that every now and then one of them would die. So she had a backyard that had, like, against the fence all the cats, and then you go a little bit further up and there's like the dogs and there's, the different animals and whatnot. And I mean, this didn't happen all at once. It's not they were dropping like flies. This is over the period of years and 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 decades, right? So I'm laying on my bed, which happened to be a futon with an air mattress on top of it, okay? So it was like a double layer. There was the futon layer, then there was the air mattress layer, and then there was some comforters over the top, much like I have right here. I'm laying there, it's about sundown, and I'm on the phone with my then boyfriend, John. This is 1.5 million years ago, and we're talking about God knows what, and I hear a cat go, and make little kitty sounds. Well, at the time we had one cat. We had a cat named P-Dunk. So I can't see P-Dunk, but she was a black and white, or I'm sorry, not black and white, black and tan tortoiseshell kitty. So they had like this little, it's almost like camouflage colors all over her. So because I couldn't see her and I didn't have my lights on, I didn't think anything of it. It's almost sundown. I got my blackout curtains and, on the phone with my boyfriend, and I'm hearing a kitty. So I'm just like, come here, kitty. So next thing I hear is, and I hear and I feel the cat get on the bed. And I'm like confused because I'm on the phone and I'm like talking and I'm like making sounds and like doing this with my hand, and I hear kitty purr sounds, and I'm seeing with my eye, not even with my mind's eye, the comforter depressed as it is here. So as the kitty's walking up to me, the comforter is depressing more and more and more, like the kitty is walking up to me. So it's like each little kitty paw print. And then it lays down next to me, and there is about a foot long, 12 inches long little spot where the comforter literally depresses. And so I'm sitting here, I'm on the phone, I'm looking at the spot, I'm hearing the cat, I'm telling my boyfriend, dude, I'm hearing a cat, but I don't see a cat. He doesn't believe me. And I go to pet the spot where the kitty is. Sure enough, it rises up. I stop hearing the kitty sound. That was the end of that story. I don't know what cat it was. I have no idea. I never saw a physical cat. I heard it, and I saw where the physical manifestation, imprints should be, because the comforters were depressing. But as far as an actual cat, I never actually saw the cat. So that was a little bit of a gee whiz there for me for that one. I had a pug named Tutu. I really, really, really loved my pug. We had her for a really long time. I want to say like somewhere between 12 to 14 years. I don't know exactly because I was a little kid when we got her. I'm not exactly sure when we got her. But I loved my little pug, okay? She's really, really cute, really, really fun. Pugs are silly little creatures. They basically, pardon me as I keep messing with my hair, they basically just want to make you laugh. They were literally bred in China for the emperor to lay on the emperor's lap and across his feet to keep him warm, and to be little comedians, like little court gestures. So that's literally all they're for. They're not going to rat anything for you. The only thing they're going to hunt is a piece of food falling to the ground. That's pretty much it. So they're just like little comedians. So Tutu died of liver failure, and I was really beaten up about it. I was like 15, 16 at the time, and I wasn't always the best person. At that point in time, I was kind of rebellious. I was going through my, I'm right and everybody else is wrong stage that most little girls go through. And what was worse was I fell in with a bad crowd of people who really liked to drink and party and all this and that. So I was underage drinking, and I was underage smoking weed, and I was just kind of throwing caution to the wind and hanging out with like a really bad group of people. That's not that the people themselves are, okay, you guys ever heard of juggalos? I was a juggalo like a million years ago. It was before it was a gang. We just listened to the music and we we're like down with the clown with everything. Okay, it's really stupid. I stopped hanging out with those people like 3 or 4 years before the city I'm in decided to call them an official gang. So I got out before all that crap. But honestly, all we did was hang out and drink and listen to shitty music. So I was hanging out with those losers, and they wanted to go drinking and partying, and I knew that my pug was sick. She was peeing some like milky colored stuff, and I knew it wasn't good. So I called my mom. Instead of going with my mom to the vet, I decided to go out and drink. It haunted me forever because my mom ended up having to put the dog down that day, and I didn't think that that's what it was going to be. I thought she'd go to the vet, she'd get taken care of. You know, this is basically the first dog I ever lost. It devastated wasn't even the right word. Mortified me that I was so selfish that I went drinking and partying with these people who ended up doing horrible things to me later on in life, like horrible things. And I chose that over my dog's last moments. So when they brought her body home, I also didn't want to be a part of burying her, and I also have regrets about that. Like, I don't know why I was being so selfish like that, but it literally haunted me. Like that, I don't really live with regrets, but my one regret is not being with Tutu for her last moments and not like being there for her burial. So it was going on about a year. I'm devastated. I cry almost every day a little bit over my dog, and I finally had this dream. I have this dream about Tutu. Now, I had a part-time job for one part of a summer where I was working in a carny booth at the local little corner fair thing they have. They have like a big hat days thing, and I think this one was like Clovis Fest or something. So I was working for like a weekend. It wasn't no big deal, but I was working in the corn dog stand. So I'm having a dream that I'm back in this corn dog stand, and I look over, and next to where the cotton candy machine is, there's Tutu, and my pug. And she looks just like herself, except her eyes are all hollowed out black. So it's my little pug, except her eyes are hollowed out, and she's completely a ghost. I know she's a ghost. Like, I know for a fact she's a ghost. But I don't care, because she's there. And all I care about is that I can see her. And so I like embrace her, and she's like licking me all over, and her little hair is getting all over. And that's the end of the dream. Well, I wake up, and my bed is covered in hair. Little tiny short blonde pug hairs all over the place. And I'm just like, what in the heck? Because she'd been gone for a year. There wasn't, I mean, maybe you find like one hair somewhere, but you're not going to find your whole bed covered in it. Like, she was literally right there roughhousing with you. So I was convinced that she came to visit me. Francois. Francois was my blue jay, my western scrub jay. My boyfriend at the time was working for a tree cutting service. They had to take down this entire tree. A nest fell out with 2 baby chicks in it. By the time that they were done with everything and found out there was the chicks on the ground, the one chick had expired from heat exhaustion. And I don't know what you know about birds, but they need to have a clutch mate to survive. They need to have somebody there with them. They kind of have to have that little extra body warmth and whatnot. And so the chances of him surviving were very, very small. And he asked me to call all around, and every place I called said, oh, it's probably a blue jay. We're just going to come pick it up and we can euthanize it for you. And I'm like, no, you're not going to pick it up to kill it. What the heck with you? So I decided, look, it's probably going to die. It's probably going to die. But I'm going to go ahead and try to raise this little bird. And if it lives, it lives. And if it died, it was going to die anyways. And I gave it a couple more days of life, right? He ends up growing into a full-blown bird. Awesome bird. I could be like, Francois, get me a paintbrush. He would go get it. I'd be like, Francois, get me a button. He'd get me a button. Francois, pick me out a gym. He'd pick out a gym, and then he'd fly off with it to his nest because he was a gym hoarder. But really awesome bird. Really, really, really awesome bird. I loved him so much. One time he flew down and ripped up my mom's cigarette as she was going to light it. Like, she was like looking at her screen, and she goes to light her cigarette, and he flies down, grabs her cigarette, tears it up, and flies away. And my mom's like, what? Because, like, this bird didn't want her smoking. And I'm like, I'm not yelling at him. I don't like that you smoke either. So that was hilarious. I loved him. One day, somebody came over with their dog without announcing that they were bringing said animal. About 10 seconds later, I no longer owned a blue jay. Dead. Completely dead. That was weird because I had put on my black dress that could tell when people were going to die, like literally 10 minutes before they showed up. And I didn't know why I put it on. I was already dressed. And if you want to know more about my dress that kills people, you got to go look in my ghost stories because I had a dress that killed people. So Robbin Williams was one of them. So check out my Robbin Williams And maybe I didn't kill Robin Williams, but I knew he was going to die because the dress knew. I don't, if you want that story, you got to go, maybe I'll link it down here. Go look, okay? Robin Williams ghost story. Find it. Okay, so I put on my dress. He's dead. I'm devastated. Like, literally, for 2 months straight, I didn't, like, really talk to anybody except to cry. They had to force feed me to eat. My boyfriend at the time kind of forced me to taking a certain amount of antidepressants and whatnot because I was so sad over my bird, because he was awesome. It was like having a dragon. I mean, his little dragon feet, you know. It was like having a flying monkey. You know, he was really, really smart. It was like having a kid. I don't have any children, you know what I mean? So, like, my animals, if I get an animal, it's going to be, like, above and beyond the care that I give this animal, because I love them, you know? It's like they're so pure. So him being dead devastated me. Every now and then, I have dreams about Francois. And in my dream, he will come fly to me. I'll feed him. He'll perch on me. Sometimes he'll snuggle up in here where he used to like hide on, you know, in my hair, like back here, like nuzzle my ear and stuff. And he'll do all these things in my dream. And it's so weird because in my dream, I'm so happy. And then I wake up and it's like I can still feel the warmth of his little feet on my finger. I can still feel the weight of him. And so that's not really like a ghost story. That's more just like, you know, he keeps visiting me in dreams. Well, there is a difference between a dream and a visitation when you're in a dream. I am 100% convinced of that. Change my mind if you think you can, but I am 100% convinced that there's a difference between having a normal dream and having a visit from somebody you loved when they were dead. You can just, there's just something different about it. You can feel it. It's palpable. You take something back with you. Sometimes those are the dreams that are really hard to hang on to when you first wake up. But if you can just hold on to one little thread of that dream, then all of a sudden it unravels for you and it shows you all the stuff that you had went through that night with that person that you love so much. My love, my little girl, my daughter, my boxer, Sydney, died in December. And let's see if I can get through this without crying, because it's still really fresh for me. I love her more than anything. She saved my life so many times. Nope, not gonna get through it. Ah, shit. Well, I hope you guys like crying. I love her more than anything. She's literally saved my life. Best dog you could ask for. Very, very smart. Very, very loving. Very childlike. Like a 3-4-year-old, maybe a 5-year-old. She was so smart. It was incredible. Her vocabulary was through the roof. And other people, you could have just met her for the first time. They're like, did your dog just say you better take me on a walk? I'm like, yeah, she did. Did your dog just say you promised? I'm like, yeah, I did promise her earlier. I mean, she was very vocal. So anyways, she passed. I'm more than devastated. Leading up to her passing, I saw Death hanging out in my house for about 3 days in the corner. And I was holding on until the morning that she died. She went through rigor at like 5 in the morning, and she didn't die till like 11. So it was really, really traumatic for me. And I saw Death in the corner just sitting there, and finally I looked at him and I literally screamed, just take her already. So don't make her suffer. Don't do this to me. She deserves so much better. And she literally died right that second. And you can ask anybody who was with me. My love Robbie or my roommates were with me, and she literally died that second. I had to look at Death in the face and like beg him to take her, right? So it was really, really traumatic for me. Had her cremated and everything. And I wasn't having dreams of her. I wasn't anything. And I was so depressed about it because I was like, fuck, you know, like at least if I had a dream about her or something. And so it's probably last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we're going through some things with my roommate's brother. He is really into alcohol, really, really bad. It's really, really bad. And he picked up like a hitchhiker, okay? He'll sit there and go, hee, and make these like really weird, like demon-y laughs. And like he sits there and talks to somebody nobody can see all day. Like, we're on borderline saying, should we get this guy, like, mental help or an exorcist? Like, there's maybe both, you know? So, I did a little bit of something. to try to bring peace to the home, because there was some things going on in the home that I was just like, nobody needs this in their life, right? And with the consent with my other roommates, I said, yeah, do this, okay? So I'm like lighting peaceful candles and doing, incense and this and that. And that person was driven from the home. Literally left for about, I don't even know how long, a week, something like that. And during that time that they were gone, I'm out in the backyard and I'm watering. And the house had been really peaceful. Really, really peaceful. And then all of a sudden it's a full moon. And I'm outside watering the garden. And I get this feeling that I'm not alone. But more than I'm not alone, I am in danger. And that's not a feeling that you really enjoy as a person, right? So I start looking around. And I talk shit to the darkness. I straight up do. I'll be like, fuck you, go find somebody else. I'm out here watering my garden. I'm the fairy Shaenna. I'm the most powerful thing out here. You got no power over me. And I'm watering my garden. I feel better. But then I feel it really sharply. There's something behind me and I am in danger. So I'm like, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to kick your ass, whatever the fuck you are. So you better watch yourself. And I said, and if you're nothing I can hurt now, when I die, I will find you and I will make sure that I make your eternity suffer. Right? So like I go off and I basically talk the most shit to anything that's spirit world, right? That's just how I am. And I turn around and in the middle of the yard I see Sydney, my boxer, my dog. And the moonlight is shining on everything and everything is lit up, but she is solid black. She is solid black in silhouette, and where she's sitting in the yard, she totally should have moonlight on her if she's coming to visit me. And it just turns its head to the side just slightly like that, and it looks at me. And I go, fuck you. I said, you're not my dog. And I start charging at it. I said, I'm going to show you, da da da. And I go after it. When I get about 4 feet away from it, and I'm not even joking, about 4 feet away from this thing that looks exactly like my girl, it disappears. It goes away. I am livid. I'm not even scared. I am livid that this thing would imitate my daughter to try to get at me, right? I am just through the moon upset, right? I'll give it a couple days. And then me and my roommate are talking. It's daytime, and we're talking, and I say something along the lines of, yeah, something really tried to upset me the other night in the yard. And she's like, oh yeah, what happened? And I tell her, something tried to intimidate me, and it tried to look like Sydney and blah, blah, blah. And her mouth just goes drop to the floor. And she says, that was yesterday? And I'm like, yeah, yesterday, day before. She's like, yesterday, day before, I freaking was walking through the house. And my boxer had a way of like, if she was laying on the ground and you tried to like step over her or go around her, it's never going to happen. She's going to jump up the second that you're right, like going around or over her, because she's like afraid you're going to step on her, or maybe she's just like tripping people. I don't really know. But she did it to my roommate all the time. Like literally it was a game for her. And she said she was fixing up the living room. And all of a sudden, she did one of those step jumps that she would because she was going to step on Sydney. And then she realized that there wasn't no Sydney there, and then she got like a blood run cold feeling. And so she knew it wasn't Sydney. I knew it wasn't Sydney. Then I'm talking to my other roommate, who it was actually, he's my ex. We were together for a long, long time, and that's Sydney's, I call her, he didn't give me Sydney, but he acted like Sydney's daddy. And we were always kosher for her. Like, it's really weird. We were totally like the parents that are nice when they have a play date with the child or whatever, just because for her, you know what I mean? Like, we were really good to her always. And so no matter what, if we were fighting about anything and somebody brought up Sydney, we'd instantly go into just regular conversation mode because she was worth it that much. And I'm telling him, he's saying how he had like a bad day or something like that. I'm like, I've been having a really, really hard time. And I'm like, I even saw Sydney in the yard the other night and it wasn't Sydney. And I start telling him about this and that. His face goes pale. Now the thing about him is he doesn't believe in ghosts. He doesn't believe in demons. He doesn't believe in none of that. He said that the other night he was having a dream that he was standing in line for something and he knew he had to be in the line. And Sydney was with somebody and he didn't recognize who she was with. And it looked kind of like Sydney, but he knew it wasn't her, but it was trying to make him feel like it was Sydney. And it kept trying to pull him out of the line. And he said that he felt like if he had gone with her out of the line, that he wouldn't have woke up. That she was trying to take him somewhere where he wasn't supposed to go. And it made his blood run cold because Sydney wouldn't do that. And the person that Sydney was with didn't look like somebody that Sydney would chill with. Because, I mean, she was a really good girl. She had very discerning characteristics. She didn't like people who looked like they were rough and tumble at all. You had to be, like, on the up and up for her to be like, I love you, you know? And so the fact that he said that he could tell it wasn't her, and if he left the line, something bad was going to happen to him, he was afraid he was going to die. Like he wouldn't wake up if he had left with her. So that was really, really terrifying, and it really pissed me off. So I ended up doing a big old candle ritual in my home to bring peace into the home, pouring it off site, and then that person ended up not coming back. And they ended up coming back eventually this last week, but everything was different. But they didn't come back for like a week, 2 weeks, and they've been like completely quiet. Like they don't talk to anybody since they've come back. So that's been kind of weird too, because I asked that if nothing nice was to be said, to say nothing at all, and now they're saying nothing at all, and that's kind of freaky too. But the fact that something decided to use my dog for this, that just, you want to talk about pissing off a fairy, that pissed me off. I hope you enjoyed those ghost stories involving animals. Please like, share, and subscribe. Visit my website at www.thefairyshana.com to see everything that I've got to do, and it's got all my links to all my social media on there. So if you want to find me on Instagram, I don't do much Twitter, but I do a little bit. It's got my Pinterest link, Pinterest link. The link to my Pinterest on there. I believe it has my Patreon on there and everything else you could possibly want to get from me. So it's on there. Check it out. Thank you so much for joining me today. And if you guys have a genre that you would like me to talk about, or ask if I have a ghost story regarding this or that situation, 95% chance that I do. I've had more weird things happen to me than you could fit into a barrel, so there's totally that. I love you all so, so much. Thank you, and have a good day. Bye!